Hi, I'm Barbara Bruce, and welcome to Get Out, a weekly virtual broadcast where we invite you to grab your friends and family, your car keys, fill up the gas tank, and get out with us somewhere in the White Mountains. We are out today, and as you can see, most of the people that live here locally know that this is the Show Low Bluff trailhead. And right behind us is the meadow, and I'm here with Nick Lund, who is synonymous with tracks.
Hey, President.
Yes, President. And how long have you had that role, Nick?
Since 2006.
I'm telling you, we'll vote you back in. What is tracks?
Tracks is the group that's authorized by the Forest Service to plan, build, and maintain the 200-mile non-motorized trail system in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest regionally. Plus, we build trails like this one that we're going to do today that's actually part of the trail system, but it was an easement that was provided by Show Low Bluff to be a community trail.
You know, I'm excited that they did that because this is one area that when people come into Show Low, you know, their eyes just gravitate over here. It's beautiful. Of course, there are animals on either side. In fact, look, one's trying to get in the film today. This is pretty good. But it tells you do not touch the livestock because you're liable to see horses or cows or whatever.
Right.
But it adds to the beauty.
It definitely does. And you got Show Low Creek that's running right down through here. People can fish in the creek. We even have a disc golf course on the trail that people, they even have competitive events up here. So it's a beautiful course. It's only about a mile loop trail, but it's very, very pretty.
One thing that I love is there are 25, that's what I counted, 25 hiking trails that we can go on. And believe me, I discerned that 13 of those are difficult. There are 4 that are easy, and then the rest of them are moderate. And this one, even though it is graded as easy, and you told me that's by the U.S. Forest Service,
yes,
it does have moderate activity along the trail.
The bottom part of this trail runs right along the edge of the meadow, and then it loops up on the side of the bluff, so that's the part that gets a little bit more moderate. But even that is not difficult at all. And it's a beautiful plus. Plus, we even put some memorial benches out here. One of them is from my aunt who passed away not too long ago.
Sorry to hear that, but how wonderful that you can put a bench along the way because we do like to stop. Let's go on up the trail a little bit as we talk about tracks.
Okay.
The meadow, that is something that everybody loves, and a lot of people wanted to see something done with the meadow, and a lot of people thought we should just leave it alone. But how can you leave this beautiful piece of property alone when it kind of belongs to everybody?
Well, not only did it belong to everybody, but the city said they recognized that they really needed this as a centerpiece in town. So they put in a paved walking trail that's handicapped accessible, and people can go and fish along the creek. So the city acquired this from the private landowners and turned it into basically an outdoor park.
I love it.
Yes.
And we've already seen this morning people going along with their fishing poles. They are very hopeful today.
Yes, indeed.
Let's go on up the road just a little bit. Nick, you know, when people come out to hike, they usually have one thing on their mind. They're going to get to their destination because they're doing it for health reasons as a rule and to see the beauty around us because we love the forest. But you can fish, as you mentioned, and I want you to know it says it has a limit and also you have to have a license. You know, there are things that we're going to point out along the trail. We likely wouldn't just stop and look at all of this, but I think that this is creativity to the max.
Using the natural resources as part of the fence.
Absolutely, and that's why we're out here. Let's go up the trail a little further. Nick, I've got my hiking boots on today, of course, and I know you do. You probably always wear them, but we have now come to the end of the asphalt trail.
And now we're going to go on what Tracks builds, which are rudimentary trails. the natural trails out in the forest. We try to make them as natural as possible and to contain them so that we're not disturbing the forest, or we're disturbing the forest as little as possible.
You know, that brings up the fact that people may not know that it's non-motorized trails.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And when we go along the way, you can see the work. I mean, the thousands of volunteer hours.
Absolutely.
How many volunteers are there?
In tracks right now, there are almost 500, which is one of the biggest groups in the state of Arizona and one of the most active groups. Matter of fact, our trail system is rated by Arizona State Parks as one of the top trail systems in the state. So it's very user-friendly. And when you say non-motorized, we're talking about hikers, mountain bikers, equestrians, cross-country runners, bird watchers, in the wintertime, and even cross-country skiers.
It's amazing. You know, you were telling me that there is a figure for the number of mountain bikers. It's getting to be like the #1 sport.
Oh, in the high schools in Arizona, that is, we understand it, is one of the most rapidly growing sports in the state, and it's phenomenal. When they have it's the NICA, National Intercollegiate Biking Association. They usually have 750 to 1,000 riders when they have an event, statewide event. It's incredible. It's wonderful to see those kids getting out, and they're all in their gear and their helmets are on, ready to rock and roll, and they have a great time.
One thing I wanted to point out, because we have a lot of visitors that come up here in the summer and they're looking for something to do. Can they be a member of Tracks?
Oh, absolutely. We have people from all over the state that come up here just during the summer or on the weekends or something like that. One advantage of being a Tracks member, no membership fee. Another advantage is you can email and ask, are there any trails that are closed because of wet conditions or anything like that before you come, which is very handy. Like right now we're in the monsoon season, and there are trails that are going to be closed off just because they're too wet.
And we are blessed today with beautiful weather. Early, that is.
Yeah.
Later today it could be different.
That's right.
And you know, that brings up something important, because when I go and I search on St. Google to find Tracks of the White Mountains, then I see that it has a map that can be downloaded, but the #1 thing that I know, and you brought that up to me, we have to check the weather before we go.
Oh, absolutely, because the mountain weather is pretty unpredictable. I'd hate to be a weather forecaster in this region. But you can download all of the trail maps for free from the Tracks website, which is www.trackswhitemountains.org. So anybody can go on that website, they can download the trail maps for free. If they join Tracks, no membership fee, and we have email lists for group hikes, mountain bike rides, cross-country ski, and trail crew work. So people can say, here's what I'm interested in. We automatically put them on those email lists. Our trail crew goes out probably every Monday, weather permitting, and works on the trail for several hours. We supply the tools and the hard hats, and everybody supplies the sweat equity. Our mountain bike group goes out 3 times a week in the mornings, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Our hikers, we have 2 categories of hikes: the shorter ones that are 2 to 3 miles, longer ones that can range up to 8 miles. And we publish those on a weekly basis so that people can come out and hike with a group that knows the forest, so that you're safe out there.
You know, I like that you said that, because I don't think anybody should go out alone. We see a lot of people out, but you know, there's too many things that can happen, and someone always needs to know where you are.
Yeah. Let me talk, Barbara, a minute about safety on the trails.
Please.
Okay. Years ago, I talked to the head of the Navajo County Sheriff Auxiliary. They're the folks that would get called out if somebody was in trouble on the trail, so they sprained their ankle or whatever. I said, what would you do when you get a call? He said, oh, Nick, it's a huge problem, because by the time they call, they're usually traumatized. They don't remember the name of the trail they're on. It's a 200-mile trail system, so it takes literally hours to locate the people. And I have to send out multiple officers just to do that. Now, we went out and put up white reflective trail marker diamonds, and you'll see one here when we get on the trail, with a code on each one of them, a simple code that people could remember if they were traumatized, so that if they call 911, say, I've twisted my ankle, I can't get out of here, they tell the dispatch the code of the nearest diamond, and they're every quarter mile on the entire trail system. And all the rescues since then have been 45 minutes or less with one responding officer, which is huge. It saves the people that are out there, but it also saves our emergency responders time and trouble.
It really makes a big difference. And again, you need to let somebody know where you're going though in advance. Download that map because you can get lost even with a map.
That's right.
All right, let's go up the trail.
This is an example of the coded diamonds on the entire 200-mile trail system that people would call in case of an emergency.
This is good, and this is the first one put up.
This first one put up, Sholo Bluff Trail number 1.
It's not that we're exhausted already, but we wanted everybody to see there are benches along the way, so if you get a little exhausted or need a drink of water, just stop and sit down. And these benches, as you had mentioned earlier, then they're
memorial benches.
Yes, they're memorial benches. How nice.
These are two of the former members of Trax, father and son. The son was missing at sea. He used to work as a marine biologist on offshore, and it was a boating accident or whatever it was. So that's why we put up this bench. And there are several benches along here that people can just stop, enjoy the meadow, and sit, read a book. So it's a perfect place to enjoy.
It is, and you know what? It's a nice way to remember somebody. What does it cost?
I think these benches were probably a couple $100, something like that.
Oh, that's not much at all. That's great.
And most of the time we funded them from donations from the family.
And of course, we're in July right now, and Trax is getting ready to have a yard sale. And that really gives money for a lot of different things. It's used very wisely.
It's used primarily to maintain the trail system. It helps us buy tools, make the signs, all the things that you need to do on a very, very expansive trail system. And Trax is a nonprofit. It's a 501c3. But we don't charge a membership fee. So we count on events like that to help fund the trail system and donations from our members.
And we recently did a show at the White Mountain Nature Center, and we got to see the kiosk up there for the Memory Garden.
And two of our Trax members built those kiosks.
That's amazing.
And the second one will go out west of Sholo on the Los Caballos Trail. It needs a new kiosk for the trailhead. And an interesting story, Barbara. When we built this trail, we had a Boy Scout that needed an Eagle Scout project. So he built 3 kiosks. He and the members of his church built 3 kiosks and installed one of them here, one of them on the top of the Sholo Bluff Trail, and one across Penrod where we were going to have an extension of the trail.
That's fantastic.
He did a fabulous job.
Well, volunteers have all kinds of skills,
Yes.
and of course people that join Trax, they do it for different reasons. And like you said, you can check what you're interested in. Me, I checked everything, although I can't do it all. But you know, it's a lot of work because you have to have some skill in getting out here, and it is really work.
Oh, it is, especially on the trail crew. We've had 3 International Mountain Bike Association workshops on how to build sustainable trails. Because the major thing when you're building a trail is to have it where the water sheets off the trail, doesn't run down the trail and erode the trail or the landscape. So it's really important that word sustainable. Those kind of things are what we teach the new members of the trail crew. When they come out to work, we have everybody work at their own level, but we instruct them on how to build sustainable trails.
So you have education as well.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Let's walk on down the trail. A bit of pertinent information that I think everybody needs to understand is the cost involved on these trails.
Yeah.
Like, can you give me cost associated with this one?
Yes, first of all, we use our donations to buy the trail tools. Forest Service, it's an agreement with the Forest Service, they have to approve all our work, but they require us to wear hard hats, which is a good thing.
Yes.
When we're building the trails, there's a group called the Independent Sector that you can go on their website and they'll give you the value of a volunteer in your state for every state. And when we built this trail, the part down here that we've been walking, the lower part, relatively easy to build. The part that's up there on the bluff, that was really tough because it's very rocky. You have to find the way to make it a sustainable trail. We put a total of almost $10,000 worth of effort into building this trail. It's a labor of love, but it is always something that we report to the Forest Service every year about what kind of effort that we're doing to help benefit the community.
I think this is great. I love hearing that because I think people don't often realize the value of volunteers.
Yes.
Nick, as we were walking along, we saw some of the landscaping material that is kind of curled up that I think the paper mill donated that years ago.
Yes.
And now it's in the way. So do you guys come out and take care of the trails?
We do. We have trail stewards that monitor all the trails, but we encourage all our members and even other people that are not members, if you see a problem on the trail, report it so that we can get out and repair it.
And how do we report it?
On the website, just the email on the website, just the same form that people use to join tracks. That's the form that people use to report things.
And you said you have stewards, so do they walk the trail and make notes of anything that needs repairing?
Our trail stewards, the thing that we require of trail stewards is to cover your trail at least twice during the summer months, when the most active months, and report anything that you have, but all the eyes on the trails are what we need. So we really encourage everybody to do this, and especially like right now during the monsoon season, you get high winds sometimes, you get a lot of rain, fortunately, but you get down trees. And so we even have an agreement with the Forest Service that we go out with chainsaws and cut the down trees so that they're not blocking the trail.
That's fantastic. And right now we're in stage 2 restrictions. So can we use the chainsaw? You know everybody that's out on the trail. We're just running into all kind of nice people today. Love it.
Yeah, there are certain conditions where you can and cannot use chainsaws, and you have to have chainsaws that don't spark. But we don't go out when the conditions are such that even the possibility might happen. So we make sure, one of the requirements of the Forest Service when we set this agreement up was that the people that we had in tracks that would go out would have to go through A-level training on safety training on how to operate a chainsaw. Show Low Fire Department volunteered to teach us how to do that, it's because they like this trail system so much. That's the way we got our training. So it's to the book.
It's to the book and it's safe.
Yes, that's
okay,
right.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Nick, thus far it's been pretty easy, but now I think where this tree is, and you can tell us what that diamond is for, it starts to be the moderate trail.
Correct. That's exactly, because from here it climbs up on the side of the bluff and then circles back to our starting point. So it makes it a loop trail so people don't just have to go out and come back, which most people like. They like loop trails. And this is the typical marker that we have on the entire trail system, but it's only the coded ones that are used for the emergency responder system. But you can see how the trail's starting to climb right through here. And yes, it gets moderate. And so you're out in the mountains, you're at about 6,500 feet, and so you will notice that if you're coming up from Phoenix or Tucson, you might be huffing and puffing just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Well, speaking of huffing and puffing, there are the trails that are for people that want to go out in a group that are much easier, and they're not that long, they're pretty short, because this one is what, is it a...
Maybe a mile.
Yes, I thought it was about a mile or a mile and a half. And so there are those trails that everybody can go on. And I know, not to embarrass you, but I know you're 78 and I'm 73, and look at us, we're out here ready to go on the moderate trail.
That's right.
Age doesn't matter.
That's right. Even our hikers that are just starting out to hike, and maybe some of our more senior hikers that are starting to slow down a little bit, they love this lower section. So they'll use this as an out and back. They'll come out to this part, turn around and go back. And it works, and that's what we want, is whatever works for the people that are members that they feel most comfortable with. And we're really sensitive to that.
Well, you have a newsletter that gives a lot of information. In fact, you always include other organizations so that people know what's going on. People can download those, or just look at them. I hate to download everything, but I like to go and look and see what's going on.
Right.
And so you have a meeting where, like your board meeting, you even invite regular members to come to the board meeting.
Yeah. And we have a board meeting. Well, first of all, I start. We have a general meeting, a general membership meeting, the second Saturday of every month. We have a board meeting the Thursday before that general meeting, and the board discusses the items that they need to do administratively, etc. But at the general meeting, we use that as an information meeting. And one of the things that I really like about it is that it's a potluck. And there's some really, really good cooks in tracks. A lot of your outdoor folks, and they love to cook. But we use that one as an information meeting and a sharing meeting. So we'll go over the things that we think that Tracks wants to know, the members want to know, but then we'll ask, is there anybody in the meeting that wants to share anything about other meetings? And so we have people from the Audubon Society, the White Mountain Nature Center, the Humane Society, all those organizations that will come to that meeting to share, here's what they're doing in their organizations.
And I like it's BYOD, that's bring your own drink except for coffee.
Yeah,
and
we do supply the coffee, yeah.
This is great. This is so much fun to get out like this. It makes you feel good, it makes you feel alive. And exercise does a lot of things. You know, it reduces stress, your bones get the fluids moving, just a lot of good things, which is why we're out here and able to do this.
Keeps us young.
Keeps us young, it absolutely does. So again, you gave the website. When is that meeting for the general membership where you get the good food and the coffee? Second
Saturday of every month. Now, that's in the summertime. In the summertime, we meet at the large Ramada in Woodland Lake Park and Pine Top.
Perfect.
In the wintertime, we meet at Darby's Restaurant.
That sounds like a plan.
Which is even better.
So we want everybody to get out, join Tracks, and you don't have to have any special skills. You actually can get educated. You can add to your skill set, right. But you meet a lot of great people that do the same things that you enjoy, and we do some good for the trail system and the forest.
And for the community.
And the community, absolutely.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, this trail system is rated by Arizona State Parks and Trails as one of the best in the state. So a lot of people come up and over from other areas of Arizona to enjoy this trail system.
I'm excited about this. I love getting out. Come on, join Tracks. Get out and enjoy the White Mountains.